down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark. The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View. All right, this is Jessie. I'm so happy to be back here with you guys. First, before I get to the news, and boy, do I have a lot to go over. I think I've got more audio for you today than I do in 2 or 3 episodes sometimes. But I'm sorry for starting a little late as well, but I had to verify something. All right, so I'm going to run over an hour today, so if you're using me to listen to while you're on the treadmill, you're going long. All right, now, first, I must apologize for missing yesterday. I had a migraine headache I could not shake. And I wasn't able to shake it until the early hours of this morning. Now, I also want to remind you, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Jessie's POV. You can email me, Jessie's POV at k98talk.org. Or, got a new one for you, Jessie's POV at klrnradio.com. Yes, I said klrnradio.com. We got a new affiliate getting ready to come online. Oh, yeah. Probably not too long after the Republican convention, from what I'm hearing. All right. So, all of that is out of the way. I've got a lot to go into. Now, I could cover 20 topics, and some days, I stop and go a little more in depth. Well, 2 things. One, I don't cover much in the way of U.S. politics, but I got some UK politics for you today. I've also got China versus the Philippines. And I want to make sure that all my listeners heard Chief Brown's speech at yesterday's memorial for the fallen officers. It was an incredible speech, and he did it with humor, something that I think was much needed at that time. So like I said, I got a ton of audio for you guys. I got a ton. I've even got some audio you're not going to be able to get to without some really tricky internet gimmicks, because it came from Al Jazeera English. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't believe the lengths I go to. All right. So, without further delay, we are going to start off with the South China Sea. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of what's going on with the South China Sea, China essentially built some reefs up into islands and then said, well, that's our territory, we're claiming it, nobody else can have it. There are approximately 6 countries that lay claim to some of the same waters that China is trying to take. And I say take. And it ain't legal, folks. Nope. So, Philippines, being one of the larger countries that China is trying to take over to water, offshore territory from, went to the International Arbitration Tribunal in The Hague. And, which, if you're not familiar with The Hague, it's also where the International Criminal Court is located. And the Philippines won. Now, I have got so much audio on this. We're going to get started. All right. Here's my first clip on this topic. And then after each one, we're going to come back and discuss it. Now, I do have one that's really long. So, all right. Let's take a listen to the first clip.
The dispute in the South China Sea is like so many potentially dangerous international conflicts over territory, and multiple countries claiming the same territory. In this case, no fewer than 6 countries: China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Taiwan, Brunei, and Malaysia. But this one adds a unique question as to whether some of this territory exists at all, because China, over the last several years, has added some 3,000 acres, in effect manufacturing land where there used to just be reefs that barely poked above the surface. China today says that this is Chinese land. The U.S. says it is still international waters, international airspace. China, in addition to building those islands, is now militarizing them, basing military aircraft, military warships, and missile systems on those manufactured reefs. The U.S. responding by sailing its warplanes and warships through those waters to demonstrate its point that they remain international. For now, that dispute has played out purely with words. The danger is, though, that there could be a miscalculation or an escalation that leads to something worse and much more dangerous.
All right, like I said, there were some reefs out there in the ocean. China's like, ooh, there might be oil, gas, and all kinds of other good stuff. Not to mention, there's great fishing in that area. We want it. So what they did was they dredged the area around these reefs, and they piled dirt, rocks, concrete, anything they wanted on top of it, essentially trying to build an island out of a reef. Yeah, a man-made island in the middle of the South China Sea. Now, this water territory is highly disputed, as you just heard. 6 countries all lay claim to this. Now, the biggest one, Philippines, actually stood up and said, nope, we're not taking this lying down, at least not completely. You may have the bigger, better army, China, but we're going to take you to court. And, of course, countries can't sue other countries in just any court. That's why The Hague exists. All right. So, the decision and China long ago said, we don't care what The Hague says. We're not going to listen. We're China. We're the big bad boy on the block. We don't have to do anything we don't want to do. So, all right. This audio clip's the long one, but I feel it's filled with information for you. So, settle in, relax. Let's take a listen.
China has made clear that it's not going to comply with this ruling. So if there's no enforcement mechanism either, there's no international maritime police force, what is the significance of this ruling beyond the fact that it's a legal ruling?
It actually means a lot. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but it sets a normative baseline by which to judge claims over the South China Sea and elsewhere. So the ruling didn't rule on specific sovereignty claims, but it ruled on what could be sovereignty claims in the future. So it sets the baseline for how China is going to negotiate, hopefully it'll negotiate, with the other claimants in the South China Sea going forward. I think it also puts China on notice that it needs to abide by international law, and that this is a case where people around the world are judging it based on its actions, not just what it says.
Now, China's military, Scott, has said that it would firmly protect its maritime rights and interests. What does this tell you about China's position going forward?
Well, it tells us that the Chinese have painted themselves into a big corner, and they're going to need to figure out how to get out of it in a face-saving way, and others are going to need to help them. It doesn't mean that the Chinese are necessarily going to take more drastic action by creating an ADIZ or something of that nature, or renouncing the UNCLOS. But it does mean that they're going to need to find a way to cooperate with everybody. This puts pressure on them to do so.
And of course, Scott, looking at the economic angle here, you said this ruling may not have an immediate impact, but it could down the road. How do you fold that into your analysis of China's attempt, its effort to transition its economy and to guide the slowdown without causing a hard landing?
Sure. Well, I think in 2 ways. First, markets are going to be watching the South China Sea and China's relationship with the United States and its neighbors to look for any signs of instability or potential conflict. And that certainly can't do much to promote growth or investment, which the Chinese desperately need. Secondly, the South China Sea are full of resources, which until these sovereignty claims are dealt with or put aside in a peaceful way, no one is going to have access to those resources, and therefore it will hurt in the short term potentially and in the long term, as long as this is an outstanding issue.
Scott, $4 trillion worth of trade goes through these waters. Why aren't we seeing more reaction in the markets?
Well, I think the markets reacted already because it was relatively a slam dunk case that the Philippines presented, when I think that's one of the reasons the Chinese decided not to participate. And so I think everyone basically already knew that this was going to be the likely outcome, and the Chinese had signaled before that they weren't going to accept it, at least today. So I think the downside news has already been accepted into markets around the world.
You mentioned that China did not participate, and the ruling in this particular ruling, with future sovereign claims coming up, does this make China more likely to take part in future rulings, to participate, at least make its case, defend its case?
Sure. Well, of course, the Chinese said that this case, the decision, would actually complicate things and make it harder. I tend to think that this is going to nudge them, not in an easy way, but the Philippines has already put forward a possibility of wanting to talk to the Chinese about a variety of things they could cooperate on. You might see some of the other claimants in Southeast Asia make similar suggestions and gestures, and certainly the U.S. has been encouraging that too. It's not going to happen quickly, but I would expect in the coming few months, and with the G20 looming at the beginning of September, China is unlikely to take drastic action immediately.
No, exactly, Scott. You mentioned the United States. The U.S. didn't necessarily take a position on these claims, but it did work through diplomatic channels in order to garner support for the court's ruling. So what does this do for U.S.-China relations?
Well, for the moment, I think it puts the U.S. and China on different sides of this issue. Not the sovereignty claims that the Chinese specifically have, but the role of UNCLOS and the decision that was issued today, which again wasn't about specific sovereignty claims, but about certain features, including the 9-dash line. But it may make things a little bit more tense, but I think actually a little bit of tension, which might actually improve the relationship, and it'll make it more important for there to be a positive outcome out of the G20 and some other type of positive outcomes through the rest of the Obama administration.
All right, there was a lot in that audio segment. A lot. Let's break it down. There's going to be some tension at the G20 because we're part of the G20, China's part of the G20. There's a whole host of countries that are part of the G20. Obviously, there's 20 of them. So, and the G20 takes place June 24th and 25th, right when we're all going to be watching our own politics. So definitely tune in here so that you can get information on it. So, I mean, there's going to be some tension. So, I'm looking for the list of members of the G20. I'm on their website right now, g20.org. All right, I found the list. Hang on to your hat. I'm going to read out all 20 names on this list. Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Republic of Korea, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, the United Kingdom, the United States, and the European Union. That's a lot. That is a long list. Now, the G20 came out of financial difficulties. And it says right here on their website, before the outbreak of the global financial crisis in 2008, G20 meetings of finance ministers, central bank governors were held to discuss international financial and monetary policies, reform of the international financial institutions, and world economic development. The first G20 Leaders Summit was held in 2008. In September 2009, the Pittsburgh Summit announced G20 as the premier forum for international economic cooperation, marking an important progress in global economic governance reform. The 10th summit was held in Antalya, Turkey in November 2015. Some guest countries and the United Nations, International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, the Financial Stability Board, and the International Labor Organizations, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development were also invited to attend the G20 Summit. Alright, so this hasn't been around all your life, most likely. Because I don't think there's too many younger people listening to this. But what can I say? Now, what do they hope to accomplish? They have nothing listed on their 2016 summit page. Let's see what it says on the next tab over. I'm waiting for a document to load. Bear with me for just a second here. It's an 18-page document. I promise I'm not going to leave it all. Now, for those of you wondering, China is hosting this year's G20 Summit. This shows both the international community's strong confidence in China, and this is a message from the Chinese president, and China's sincere wish to make contribution to the international community. Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling through this real quick. Now all eyes are on the G20 as an important forum for cooperation among developed countries, emerging markets, and developing countries. The G20 plays a key role in leading and advancing international economic cooperation. It should act with broad vision and deliver concrete outcomes. It should address political issues affecting the global economy and endeavor to promote strong, sustainable, and balanced growth. In the course of making preparations for the 2016 G20 Summit, China will work with all other parties to pull in one direction in the spirit of win-win partnership. We should pool wisdom, form synergy, implement the outcomes of the Antalya Summit and all previous summits, and jointly advance international economic cooperation. All right. Now, what were we just discussing? The South China Sea incident and the G20. Now, I've got some audio about how the Philippines fishermen view the ruling from the International Court. This audio is special. It's from Al Jazeera English, which, like I said, I got to pull some internet gymnastics to get that stuff, because guess what? You can't get it in this country. Nope. Al Jazeera English blocks all video from being shown in the United States. And I apologize. It seems I need another cup of coffee. I'll have to grab one. All right. let's take a listen to the segment on the Philippine fishermen. I promise this one's nowhere near as long as the last one.
Well, fishermen in the northern Philippines have welcomed the decision, as Shemela Lindigan reports.
I'm at the main fish market of Masinloc Town in Zambales province. The news that the Philippine government won in the landmark case against China in the South China Sea has been welcomed by people here. There are fish traders, fishermen, villagers who say that this could mean that the economy of Zambales will pick up again. It has been severely affected since China took control of the Scarborough Shoal in 2012. But the question remains still, they say, how are they going to go against the bigger, more powerful vessels of China in the South China Sea?
We really do hope the news is true, that it belongs to us. Perhaps we can go back without fear that we don't get chased anymore.
Fishermen who go to the Scarborough risk their lives just to get fish. We are just merely vendors. Of course, prices will go down, which may not be fair for them.
It remains to be seen what sort of assistance will the government give to Filipino fishermen. President Duterte says he is willing to get into a shared agreement with China over disputed areas in the South China Sea. But people here are asking if that is enough, because they know that trying to reclaim their lost fishing grounds in the Scarborough Shoal is a matter of survival. They say they know that China will not give up its control of the Scarborough Shoal. So they're asking if the Philippine Coast Guard is going to assist them when they try to go back in there. Internationally, it is seen as a major victory. But for Filipino fishermen out in the sea, it is still very much a David and Goliath scenario.
All right, I got a couple things to tell you. First of all, the G20 summit is on September 4th and 5th, so I gave you the wrong dates. I had to pull up some media information to get it. All right, so... Hey, you never know what information is going to give you the right answers. All right, so now as you heard, the Philippines fishermen are hopeful. But Beijing's not happy. Not in the least. We're going to take a listen to this, discuss the Chinese reaction. Could have predicted it, but nobody ever asks me. And then we are going to take a commercial break, and I'll be back with you after that. All right, so let's listen to this segment, and then we'll take a break.
The Chinese government is responding defiantly to the ruling that its claims in the South China Sea have no legal basis. A senior government minister warning that China now reserves the right to declare an air defense identification zone, as it has done in other disputed waters.
And whether we will set up another one in the South China Seas will depend on the degree of threat we are facing. If our security is threatened, we will do so.
That would raise tension still further, as such an early warning system would require aircraft to notify the Chinese government when they plan to fly over the disputed areas, thought to contain vast oil and gas reserves. The Chinese warning is directed at the Philippines' main ally, the United States, which has been carrying out military exercises close to islands occupied by China, but which Tuesday's ruling said actually belong to the Philippines. Another Chinese diplomat says the tribunal's findings are motivated by malice.
Failure to recognize that is a matter of professional incompetence. Deliberate disregard is a matter of questionable integrity.
China's also portraying itself as the victim, as government officials presented a policy white paper that they say clarifies China's historical claims in the South China Sea. There was, though, a distinct edge to the language used.
We hope that other countries will not take the opportunity to threaten China, but will work with China in the same direction to peace and stability in the South China Seas, and not make the South China Sea the origin of war.
Beyond the warnings and threats, though, Chinese leaders are also sending out a conciliatory message, saying that negotiations with the Philippines could lead to a sharing of resources in the South China Sea, but only if there are talks. Adrian Brown, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
All right, so, like I've said time and time again, China's not happy. China's all over the unhappy. We don't want to deal with you. This is our property. Get off. All right, so China is in essence being a bully. Because China is trying to claim territory that it, quote, created. I'm sorry. If you listen to the audio from the other day, and I'm going to see if I've still got it so I can pull it up, and I might play it again for you. It discussed the difference between an island, a rock, and a reef, and the legal rights of each. In fact, I think it's important enough. It's not too long. It's under 2 minutes. We're going to take a listen.
Island, rock, or reef? So why is this such an important question for the South China Sea? Well, if you own an island under international law, you have exclusive economic rights to an area 200 nautical miles around your island. You can look for fish, you can search for oil or gas, but in order to be classified as an island, it has to be able to support human life. So, thanks Nino, that means that it must have fresh water, and very few of the features in the South China Sea have that. So most of them are likely to be classified as rocks, which basically means that they just about stay out of the water at high tide, and rocks have a much smaller entitlement to water, only 12 nautical miles around the rock. And then there's reefs, which go underwater at high tide. Now, you can't own a reef, it belongs to the seabed, and whoever has rights to that particular bit of seabed. Now, China has occupied several of the reefs in the South China Sea, and if you can just help me again, you know, that's great. And China has dredged the waters around the reefs and put sand, cement on top of the reef, effectively turning it into an island. They've even put airstrips on some of them. Now, under international law, an artificial island has no legal basis, but as you can see, whether something is classified as an island, a rock, or indeed a reef, has huge implications legally for who controls what in the South China Sea.
All right, so I felt that was important enough given the fact that we've been discussing the ruling. Now you see why China wanted to build up those reefs. 200 miles versus practically nothing. Actually, versus nothing. So, yeah. But there is no ruling on man-made islands. Doesn't exist. Isn't something that the international courts have even discussed. All right. Now, I am going to take a commercial break, and I will be back with you. Because guess what? You went to bed with one UK Prime Minister in office, David Cameron. And as you're sitting down to dinner this evening, if you're listening to me live on July 13th, we've got a different one. So let's get to that commercial break so I can get back with you.
want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
You can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country needing you right now, but I don't wanna.
Hey, this is Dave Bray, America's Patriotic Rocker. Just giving you a shout out. Make sure you stay tuned and listen in to K98 Talk.
All right. Thank you for hanging in there over that commercial break. Yes, I know it was 30 minutes late getting started. I'm not going to run over 30 minutes, but I am going to run probably a little long. Because when you went to bed, Matt, last night, David Cameron was the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He's not any longer. So if you remember, rewind, Brexit vote. He said that because he was strongly in the Remain campaign, as in remain in the EU, he felt someone else needed to lead the country forward through the formal process of exiting the EU. As he put captain the ship through, or captain this process through, or something. Anyway, the UK did something it has not done since Margaret Thatcher. It elected another female prime minister. Now, before we hear what she had to say, and yes, I got you her audio. I was able to find a report that had it and pull it out and extract it so you can hear her speak and not some reporter talking over her. Now, let's first listen to Cameron, David Cameron, who was Prime Minister this morning, but is not now. Actually, he wasn't by the time the Americans got up, but he started off his morning as Prime Minister and officially went to see the Queen and resign. Because over in the UK, as you've heard before, they swear what they call a crown oath. Their oath is to the crown. Well, the Queen represents the crown. Or the crown represents the Queen. So anyway, that's who you officially have to tender your resignation to when you're that high up. All right. Let's take a listen to David Cameron's final speech as the United Kingdom Prime Minister. And I'm going to let it play through.
We will shortly be heading to Buckingham Palace to see Her Majesty the Queen, where I'll tender my resignation as Prime Minister. And I would advise Her Majesty to invite Theresa May to form a new administration. I'm delighted that for the second time in British history, the new Prime Minister will be a woman, and once again a Conservative. I believe Theresa will provide strong and stable leadership in fulfilling the Conservative manifesto on which we were elected, and I wish her well in negotiating the best possible terms for Britain's exit from the European Union. Let me finish by saying this. The spirit of service is one of this country's most remarkable qualities. I've seen that service day in, day out in the incredible work of our armed forces, our intelligence agencies, and our police. It is something I always knew, but as Prime Minister, you see it so directly that it blows you away. And of course, writing those heartbreaking letters to the families who've lost loved ones is a poignant reminder of the profound scale of what these men and women give for us in the defence of our freedoms and our way of life. We must never forget that. In a different way, I've seen the same spirit of service in the amazing contributions of countless volunteers in communities up and down our country who are making our society bigger and stronger. And I'm proud that every day for the past 2 years, I've used the office of Prime Minister in a non-political way to recognise and thank almost 600 of them as points of light whose service can be an inspiration to us all. For me, politics has always been about public service in the national interest. It is simple to say, but often hard to do. But one of the things that sustains you in this job is the sense that, yes, our politics is full of argument and debate, and it can get quite heated. But no matter how difficult the decisions are, there's a great sense of British fair play, a quiet but prevailing sense that most people wish their Prime Minister well and want them to stick at it and get on with the job. So I want to take this moment to say thank you to all those who've written letters and emails offering me that support, people who I'll never get to meet and never get to thank personally. It has been the greatest honour of my life to serve our country as Prime Minister over these last 6 years, and to serve as leader of my party for almost 11 years. And as we leave for the last time, my only wish is continued success for this great country that I love so very much. Thank you.
All right, so he didn't feel since he didn't want Britain to leave the EU, that he was going to be able to reasonably, responsibly shepherd it through the exit process. So, he said someone else has to take care of this. All right, so he tendered his resignation, said he would stay on until a new prime minister was chosen, because you just don't walk out of a job like that. All right, so now, then he said that he was happy that a woman was chosen, and it is only the second time that a female prime minister has been chosen. So it's pretty interesting. All right. Now, I didn't know a lot about Theresa May, and I'm betting you guys know even less. Yeah, I did a little quick research. First of all, Theresa May is 59. And she is only the second female prime minister. We've been over that several times. She had been the Home Secretary and is considered a, quote, safe pair of hands, unflashy, even dull, and she seems to be a candidate of continuity. But the country's dire circumstances may demand more. Now, this is from a New York Times article. So, her 6-year tenure at the Home Office showed her to be a tough operator and put her in charge of a number of flashpoint issues. She demanded police reforms to reduce racial profiling. She helped push through surveillance policies that had to balance fears of terrorism against civil liberties and confront public pressure to reduce immigration. Failing to meet government targets for doing so. If seeming at odds with Mr. Cameron's inner circle, she was a quiet critic of the government's budget austerity. She nonetheless built a reputation as smart and competent. Her motto is, put your head down and get to work. Now, I have her speech, her first one, as Prime Minister. Let's take a listen.
I am honoured and humbled to have been chosen by the Conservative Party to become its leader. I would like to pay tribute to the other candidates during the election campaign, and I would like to pay tribute to Andrea Leadsom for the dignity that she has shown today.
To bring different parts of our country together.
Brexit means Brexit, and we're going to make a success of it. Second, we need to unite our country. And third, we need a strong a vision of a country that works not for the privileged few, but that works for every one of us. Because we're going to give people...
All right, I thought I'd clean that audio up a bit better. We are going to try and get through the last of it, though. She makes a couple good points.
I think she'll do a sensible thing. I mean, she's already said that Brexit means Brexit.
That's a citizen's take on it. So, like I said...
Morning, everyone.
I did try and clean it up as best I could. I could not find the entire audio in any one spot. So... All right. Now, that's not all that's going on in the world, folks. Nope. It's not. Now, give me a couple seconds. I've got to get this one last piece of audio cleaned up. Hey, I have been running like a banshee. And I'm sorry, I wanted to wait until Theresa May. I found it on the news that Theresa May was actually now the official prime minister, because there is a whole process that goes on. There's usually a couple hours where there isn't one, but usually not a whole lot happens during that time. So, all right. Anyway, I have to say about her that I hope and pray she is as strong a woman as the infamous or famous Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. Now, I am working on prepping this audio. Just give me another couple seconds. Alright, I got it. I think we're going to be able to make this work. I'm just getting it out for you. So, like I said, I will try and find that whole speech of hers. It was very good. It was hard to hear through the reporter talking over her. I'm sorry, but when a head of state's talking, as far as I'm concerned, you're not. Because...
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
I'm sorry. If you are privileged enough to cover a head of state, be it your country or in other countries, you shut up and let them talk. Now, I've got a little bit more on Theresa May. Good old Wikipedia. So, now I warn you, according to the article, it said this person is involved in a current event. Alright, she was born October 1st, 1956. So she was a leader of the Conservative Party since July and a member of Parliament for Maidenhead since 1997. From 1977 until 1983, she worked for the Bank of England, and from 1985 until 1997 at the Association for Payment Clearing Services. That sounds like it might be like ACH or something. All right. And also served as a councillor for the London Borough of Meryton's Dunsford Ward. After unsuccessful attempts to be elected to the House of Commons in 1992 and 1994, she was elected MP for Maidenhead, which MP is Member of Parliament, in the 1997 general election. May served in a number of roles in the shadow cabinets of William Hague, Ian Duncan Smith, Michael Howard, and David Cameron, including the shadow leader of the House of Commons and shadow work and pension secretary. She was also the chairman of the Conservative Party from 2002 until 2003. After the formation of the coalition government following the 2010 general election, May was appointed Home Secretary and Minister for Women and Equalities, giving up the latter role in 2012, reappointed after the Conservative victory in 2015. She went on to become the longest-serving Home Secretary since James Shooter Eade, over 60 years previously, pursuing reform of police and taking a harder line on drug policy and introducing restrictions on immigration. Following the resignation of David Cameron on the 24th of June, May announced her candidacy for the leadership of the Conservative Party and quickly emerged as the frontrunner. She won the first ballot of Conservative MPs on the 5th of July by a significant margin. 2 days later, she won the votes of 199 MPs going forward to face a vote of the Conservative Party members in a contest with Andrea Leadsom. Leadsom withdrew from the election on the 11th of July, which led to May's appointment as the leader on the same as the leader the same day. She was officially appointed Prime Minister 2 days later. May identifies as a one-nation conservative and is characterized as a liberal conservative. She is the second female Prime Minister, the first being Margaret Thatcher. What's interesting here, she was educated in our equivalent of a public school. Yes. So she did study at University of Oxford, where she studied geography. She graduated with a second-class Bachelor's of Arts in 1977. Let's see. I'm scrolling for anything really cool here. So, hang on. Bear with me. In July 2013, May decided to ban the stimulant khat against the advice of the Advisory Council on the Misuse of Drugs, because the council had reached the conclusion there was insufficient evidence that it caused health problems. Explaining the change in classification, and khat, by the way, is a drug that is very popular with the pirates, Somali pirates. Oh yeah, and I do say drug. Explain the change in classification, May said the decision to bring khat under control is finally balanced and takes into account the expert scientific evidence and these broader concerns, and point out that the product had already been banned in the majority of other EU member states, as well as most of the G8 countries, including Canada and the US. In 2010, May promised to bring the level of net immigration down to less than 100,000. She said it was important to help people living in war zone refugee camps, but not the ones who are strong and rich enough to come to Europe. In May 2016, Daily Telegraph reported she tried to save £4 million by rejecting an intelligence project to use aircraft surveillance to detect illegal immigrant boats. That's not a smart move, but that's okay. Let's see. Deportation decisions. So, on July 7, 2013, Abu Qatada, a radical cleric arrested in 2003, was deported to Jordan after a decade-long battle that had cost the nation £1.7 million in legal fees, and numerous prior Home Secretaries had been unable to resolve. The deportation was a result of a treaty negotiated by May in April 2013, under which Jordan agreed to give Qatada a fair trial and refrain from torturing him. May has frequently pointed to Qattada's deportation as a triumph, guaranteeing in September 2013 he would not be returning to the UK, and declaring her in 2016 leadership campaign. She announced that she was told she could, and declaring her in the 2016 announcement that she was told she couldn't deport Abu Qatada, but that she flew to Jordan to negotiate the treaty and got him out of Britain for good. The Qatada deportation also shaped May's views on the European Convention on Human Rights and European Court of Human Rights, saying that they had moved goalposts and also had crazy interpretation on our human rights laws. As a result, May has since campaigned against the institution, saying that British withdrawal from them should be considered. Let's see. Did she do anything interesting as a Minister for Women and Equality? She did vote against the greater adoption rights for homosexuals in 2002, though she had voted in favor of civil partnerships. May later stated during her appearance on BBC's Question Time she had changed her mind on gay adoption. Writing for Pink News in 2010, she clarified her proposals for improving LGBT rights, including measures to tackle homophobia in sports, advocating British society's need for cultural change. In July of 2010, she supported she stated she would be supporting the previous Labour government's anti-discrimination law. In May 2012, May expressed support for the introduction of same-sex marriage by recording a video for the Out for Marriage campaign. May became one of the first high-profile Conservative members of Parliament to pledge personal support. So, like I said, she is intelligent. All right. I know I am probably technically out of time. In fact, I know I am. But I want you to hear this one last audio clip. I know I got it prepped. There it is. It's not too long. And I think it's well worth hearing.
When I was a teenager and started liking girls, I could never find the right words to express myself. And after a couple of words, they just walk away, leaving me figuring out what do I need to do to get a date. And so being a music fan of 1970s rhythm and blues love songs, I put together a strategy to recite the lyrics to get a date. So for girls I liked, I would pull out some Al Green or some Teddy Pendergrass or some Isley Brothers, and I'd recite the lyrics to their love songs. But for people I loved, if I fell in love with a girl, I had to dig down deep to get some Stevie Wonder. To fully express the love I had for the girl. So today, I'm going to pull out some Stevie Wonder for these families. So families, close your eyes and just imagine me back in 1974 with an afro and some bell bottoms and wide collar. We all know sometimes life's hate and troubles can make you wish you were born in another time and place. But you can bet your lifetimes that, and twice is double, that God knew exactly where He wanted you to be placed. So make sure when you say you're not in it, but not of it, you're not helping to make this earth a place sometimes called hell. Change your words into truth, and then change that truth into love. And maybe your children's grandchildren and their great-great-grandchildren will tell them, I'll be loving you until the rainbow burns the stars out of the sky. I'll be loving you until the ocean covers every mountain high. I'll be loving you until the dolphin flies and the parrots live at the sea. I'll be loving you until we dream of life and life becomes a dream. I'll be loving you until the day is night and night becomes the day. I'll be loving you until the trees and seas up and fly away. I'll be loving you until the day that 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 is 4. I'll be loving you until the day that is the day that are no more. I'll be loving you until the day the earth starts turning right to left. I'll be loving you until the earth, just for the sun, denies itself. I'll be loving you until Mother Nature says her work is through. I'll be loving you until the day that you are me and I am you. Now, ain't that loving you? Until the rainbow burns, the stars out of the sky. Ain't that loving you? Until the ocean covers every mountain high. And I've got to say, always. I'll be loving you always. And there's no greater love than this, that these 5 men gave their lives for all of us.
All right. On that note, I am out of here!
Man down, I'm bleeding out. There's no time, so please hear me out. These are the last few words that I'd like to say to you all. This is my last call. Tell my wife I love her, and that I won't be home tonight. Thank her for those long, hard years that we tried to get it right. And tell her I'll be waiting after she makes it through it all. This is my last call. But ask her to forgive me. Tell her I'm sorry. That I can't be the man that she's gonna be. Tell her I'll be waiting where the winter meets the fall. This is my last call. And tell my children that I love them. Oh yeah, that daddy always loved them so. And tell them to hold their mother tight and to never let her go. And tell them I'll always be watching, looking over them through it all. This is my last call. But tell him to fight for me. Do what's right for me. Choose the light for me. But don't ever forget me. Tell him watching, and I'll be there when they fall. This is my last call. For those who served beside me and who held that thin blue line, stand tall, stand strong, and hold your head up high. I'm sorry I let you down today, but please know I gave my all. This is my last call. So raise a glass for me. And kick some ass for me. Ring a bell for me. Send them straight to hell for me. I'd like to think I saved a few good lives, but I couldn't save them all. This is my last call. Yeah, I'd like to think I saved a few good lives, but I couldn't save my own. This is my last call.